What's up? Here we go. Episode 114. Let's do it. Oh boy. Happy Monday. Let's do it. Come on in, folks. Wait. There we go. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I didn't hit the... I have so many things today going wrong. Happy Monday. Excellent. It's all working. The only thing that wasn't working was my hand cam. Yeah, my hand camera's out. Come on in. Got a great group in here already. Yo, what's up? Who's in here? Robert's in here. Hey, long time no see. What's up, brother? Lilith, Dan, Jason, Darla, Talon. Oh my gosh. All right, great group. Literally, as I was hitting live, everything crashed. So I had to reboot. Luckily, this camera worked. The hand camera's out. When I reboot and something crashes, sometimes I have to literally go into the system and retool things. I'm also going to turn off my heater because it's roasting in here. What's up? It's Monday. Oh my God, I have a lot to say. Cassandra, what's up? So I do have a lot to say, a lot to go through. I hope my bots are working. Could somebody do a test? Do a points test. This is a chatty show, folks. So if you're new watching this, first of all, hit the stupid subscribe button. It's almost impossible to get subscribers on these things. Achilles, what's up? Second, if you read the description, there's chat points. You get points, you can win prizes. Check it out. The other thing is, it's a chatty show. So, oh yeah, see, it worked. Wow, Dan, you have enough to get a poster and a mystery box. Yes, I have a lot to say. I got a new book I can't wait to talk about. And I would like to do a couple of reviews of films and things. I did see Chainsaw Massacre. I had some people say I would love it. I had some people think, hey, what's up, Ruth? I think some people said I would hate it. I know a lot of people that hated it. Very few that loved it. I'm going to give my review. I also saw the Blackadder episode with the Macbeth thing in it. Hilarious. Over the last week, I've opened my brain up to more Blackadder. I've watched it over the years. I've always liked it, but I never paid close attention to the details. Wow. For anybody that doesn't know, each season is a different time period, and I must say the last two might be the funniest. The last one takes place in World War I, and it's pretty damn funny. I like the third season maybe the best so far. But great show. You get to see Rowan Atkinson doing his thing. And with words, not just physicalities. Great guy. Amazing. The most famous comedian that walks the earth, I would say. Would you not? Anybody else? Oh, you did, Ruth. How great are they? I mean, it's one of the greatest TV experiences in the world. I'd put that maybe in the top 10 greatest TV shows. I was going to say something about Blackadder that I didn't know. Well, season 1 had a high budget, and they used film for certain sequences, but it's not that funny. I'm going to be honest. It's funny, but it's not like season 2, 3, and 4. The comedy writing went out the roof. Black Adder, the character, is different. Season 1, he's a dum-dum. Then he becomes smart. Season 3, he's really smart. Love it. And then I watched last week. I think I might have watched it right after my show. I watched Chainsaw Massacre. I wanted to give it a review. If I paid money to see that movie at the movie theaters, and, you know, I got the popcorn and the drink, and I went with some friends, I gotta say, I probably would give it a very good review. Here's the thing. Chainsaw Massacre 1 is an art film, at least in my eyes. Baldrick. Chainsaw 2 is also an art film with a little bit of the midnight movie camp added in a very, very thin dose in Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I like that one the best. Ooh, I don't know this. I want to see this. Lilith, I'm going to check that out. Chainsaw 3, 4, 5, the rest of them are garbage. This one is a sequel to 1, like Chainsaw Massacre 2, but it forgets Chainsaw 2 exists, and it just does a new sequel. It's a fast forward to the future. Leatherface is still around, and one of the other characters from the girl that survives from the first one, Sally Hardesty Enright, who the actress is actually not alive anymore. People said it was a ripoff of the Halloween movie that sucked. I thought the Halloween movies sucked, the new ones. Yeah, it is kind of a ripoff, but to me it was better. Way better. I thought the gore was so over the top, it was enjoyable. And as for the social justice warrior wokeness that's in the movie, and yes, there's some, I think a lot of people didn't get that they were making fun of it. I mean, yeah. You know, when I was a kid and you went and saw a slasher film, you got to see 5 or 6 annoying characters, maybe 1 or 2 were cool, and you kind of sat there waiting for them to die. Yeah. So, on that level, Chainsaw, the new one, is great. Because when they finally do die, the people that you don't like, it's glorious and done in a fantastic, over-the-top manner. Leatherface, to me, was scary. He was... he's supposed to be how old now? 75, 80 years old? Well, obviously, the guy's running around with a massive chainsaw. That doesn't make sense. But I would say it's ridiculous, yet fun. And shocking and crazy, and I thought it was great. It's a stupid movie. Yeah, oh yes. Francis, Marilyn Burns. That first movie doesn't count for anything except perfection. It's really scary, unnerving. It feels like a documentary. The acting is great. It's just a perfect movie. My favorite Chainsaw Massacre, those 2. This new one is probably my 3rd favorite now. Yeah. I will watch it again. What's up, Mama? Mama in the house. Mama Cardone. Mama, I'm wearing the dirty shirt. My mom's always making fun of me that all my shirts are really gross and dirty. I have a thing for dirty white t-shirts. I don't know. I just like them. Yeah, he's very spry in the first one. Or in the new one. So, the guy playing Leatherface in the new one is trying to embody the Gunnar Hansen Leatherface a bit. He even does some of the awkward kind of arm movements, and it's interesting. I didn't hate it. It's a dumb horror film. It's a dumb horror film. It did what it did for me. I liked it. I would have loved to have seen it opening night in a packed theater with teenagers. You know? I mean, Freddy versus Jason, I thought was fantastic. It's dumb, but it's done well. Yeah, I mean, Gunnar, yeah, I mean, he would have made it cool, but at the same time, I mean, I guess the character was in the movie a lot. Yeah, I suppose he was. I didn't hate the movie. I thought the Leatherface mask that he's wearing is pretty damn scary. They don't explain how fast he started the chainsaw up. It was an old chainsaw, you know. There's stupid stuff in it. I love dumb horror films too, But I'm going to be honest, I did not like the movie Mandy. I should do a whole show on that movie of why it angered me. I thought Mandy was a dumb horror film, but dumb in the wrong spots. It got me to buy into something, and then it threw it in the garbage. And that makes me mad. If you're going to catch my attention and then take the thing that caught my attention and throw it out, I'm out. I'm mad at you now. And that movie did that. I actually was kind of mad when I left the movie theater. A lot of people like that movie because it's literally was made to make Nick Cage just able to go nuts. The acting in it was horrible. I don't know. I want to get into it. I hate that movie. And check this out. So, Chainsaw, I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun. I will see it again. Mandy was a independent film. They raised money so that Nick Cage could star in a horror film and go crazy. I didn't like it. Silent Night, Deadly Night is awesome. I actually like that one. Ah! Yes, okay, Bill M. I did too. I went and saw it, opening night, Freddy Jason, all teenagers, in the ghetto movie theater. And it was awesome. There was ketchup on the screen from kids throwing hot dogs. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was like a rock concert. It reminded me at one of my greatest movie experiences ever. When I was a kid, I remember seeing Nightmare on Elm Street 2 opening night at the movie theaters. Never forget it for the rest of my life. I can still see the scene. And it jazzed me in a manner that was unbelievable. Loved it. Yeah. Some brutal scenes in what? What? That's the original Chainsaw in the new one? Oh, I didn't know that. There's brutal stuff in the new one. I mean, really, like, of course it's over the top, but it's pretty shocking, some of the stuff that happens. Wow. All right. So, aside from that, I put this on the hand cam, but the hand cam ain't working. Let me check. And no, it's not. The hell with the hand cam. How many of you know this book? The Golden Bough, A Study of Magic and Religion. Sir James George Francis. Fraser. Not Francis. I've heard this name. I've heard of this book mentioned many times. But I've never had somebody say to me, you got to go buy that book. I don't know why. No one's ever said that's a must own. And so I've read, when I'm looking, when I'm doing my stuff, when I'm doing my research and my scholarly nonsense, and a book is mentioned more than once, I try to locate a copy. And so, oh, you do? Okay, cool. So people know this book. I can't believe I didn't own this before. I don't think I'm going to well, I got it. And I can't put it down. I don't think I'm going to read it cover to cover, though. I mean, I might. I started. I have to see. It's one of the greatest reference books I've ever seen. It really... This is like turn of the century. The author didn't travel. He wasn't like a traveling research scholar. He's what you call the couch armchair scholar, meaning he's reading accounts of religion and magic from cultures coming from sources like military campaigns and missionary groups and people dealing with other cultures and their nuance. And being an anthropologist and in that world, he comes together and kind of formulates it all and organizes it. But my God, this book here is how many pages? I think it's 400 pages. It's 401 pages. This is the abridged version. Oh my God. So, I don't know. It's cool. It's not hard to read. Whenever I read, I wrote a little essay today on my Instagram. And in that essay, I mentioned that since I started reading some dense stuff, not dense in the notion that the words aren't hard to read, but the concepts are hard to formulate. Because I don't know if you know this, Nietzsche didn't use crazy words. He took normal words and redefined them. So reading him's easy that way, but understanding it's the trick. So when you're reading a lot, daily, stuff that you can't passively read, you have to read it, underline it, write down notes. When you're reading like that, reading regular stuff becomes so easy, it's shocking. I had one of my Conan the Barbarian novels the other day, and I'm sure Lovecraft loved this book. That makes sense. Wow. I can see him using this as a reference for all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I pick up my Conan book, and I'm just like, I can like speed read, you know? I didn't realize that was going to happen when I took it this seriously. Look, when I was in college, I had to read some dense material, but it wasn't philosophy. It was plays. It was theater. So the density in reading plays would be figuring out the subtext. So, I love it. Dan, I love that you're reading that Seneca stuff, dude. It really does. It is. His letters, again, his stuff's easy to read. It's just to get there and to feel the concept and to then apply it to yourself and kind of understand what he's talking about. Yeah, it takes about an hour to read a page. It does. It really does. And you'll see it becomes so fun and so habitual, and I feel bad if I miss out on it daily. It's a different way to read. You know, it's very different. They didn't encourage this type of reading when I was a kid. Well, it wasn't that they didn't encourage it. It was the material wasn't that interesting. And the teacher teaching it didn't seem that interested. We've all had teachers that were so passionate about what they were teaching, it was infectious. I had a Shakespeare teacher in high school. His name was Mr. Kraft, and I don't know if any of my high school peeps are in here, because I do get them occasionally. Bill Yawn is a high school friend that jumps in here. Bill, if you're watching a rerun, or if you're in here, Mr. Kraft, I don't know if you had him. He was awesome. And so, yeah, I missed out on this kind of stuff when I was a kid. Then I get to college, and I'm reading plays, and I'm doing detective work. Because that's what... If you're an actor and you're in a play, you immediately go into detective mode. Because there isn't a thing at the beginning of the play that says, if you're playing the part of Fred Smith or whatever, here's some notes to help you. It doesn't do that. They don't do that. You got to figure that out from the play and interpret it. And so that's the kind of scholarly, I hate that word, but yeah, scholarly effort I was putting into my college-y smart stuff, right? Because I went to a conservatory, so yes, I had history classes, but they were theater history. And I mean, we did the Elizabethan history of theater, we did Greek, I did a Roman class, I did modern drama classes, all history. We also did all my other work, was voice and speech study and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't have regular classes. I didn't have math. I didn't have science. And I'm shocked that it wasn't part of our fine arts program to do a couple philosophy courses. Okay, let's get into the meat tonight, because I could go on and on with this stuff. Tonight's episode, I called it, boom, Working for the Devil. And, well, first of all, let's get this straight. Working, meaning working, and devil, I'm using the word devil in its context of it being an opposing value. Because some of us on here actually like the devil as a role model. Seriously. So I'm not using it in a negative connotation. I'm using it in the adversarial connotation. And Carnegie Mellon did not have a general studies core except for English and a computer class. That was it. I swear. They knew we were all too dumb to pass any of them. I swear. They did. It's a bunch of theater people. So anywho. So that's how I'm using the word devil. And, So, when I say working for the devil, and I did a couple little Instagram posts about, working for people you don't necessarily admire. I really wanted to talk about this tonight because it's something I think about and have to deal with quite a bit sometimes. And I see people discussing it publicly. For instance, I remember about, I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when Trump first got into office, a bunch of people chatting online saying that if they got hired by the White House to do a performance, they would boycott it and not do it. And then there was the discussion about it. And I've seen people get canceled because of affiliations in the performance world. And I've sit on the sidelines chuckling the whole time with my mouth shut. As most of you know, I don't get involved in that kind of stuff online. But I watch and I learn and I ask questions amongst my peers and I think about it a lot. What does that mean to work for somebody you don't look up to, or you find that they have horrible values, or they literally are really horrible people, or they're criminals, or we're going to get into it. And also what it means legally. And what I mean by that is, you own a bakery and a gay couple wants a cake made and the people refuse it, right? What does that mean, quote, legally? Because you could say, what if you're a Jewish baker and the local Nazi crew comes in and wants a Nazi cake? What does that mean legally? Do you have to make the cake? Well, the laws say you're not allowed to discriminate against someone's sexuality, which I completely agree with. But at the same time, I have some problems with forcing anybody to do anything for any matter, especially that kind of thing. So, that said, let's reverse it a bit and go to, let's just throw some ideas out. We've all worked for people we don't like. Bosses, monster bosses, crooks, right? And you do it and you make your money and you go home and you whatever. Your moral values of your employer aren't your business necessarily. At least most of the time, right? So what happens if the local Aryan nation calls me and says, hey, we're having our annual holiday event and we need entertainment. We're having a hard time finding people because some people think, we're rotten and they have disagreements. What do you say? Okay. So what do I do? Do I like the Aryan nation? No, absolutely not. I think it's ridiculous and sad and, whatever. It's their right. And I actually am glad they're legally allowed to run around flying their flags. I am. I want them to. It's easier to see who they are. It keeps them from the underground, invisible. It also, again, at this point in my life, their values that I don't agree with, I don't say are evil. I don't use those words. I don't go to the personification of badness. I don't do that. Their values aren't mine, and vice versa. And so I don't judge people anymore on certain value choices, even if they're despicable. I really don't. I've really gotten beyond that, where as long as I'm not directly involved with whatever hence be going on, sometimes I'm like, look, there are so many different values that we don't process because we don't understand. It's a lot of cultural stuff. Some of the stuff that I've seen in other cultures that we would deem horrible, bullfighting, for instance, right? We can go, that could be a whole episode. I might do an episode on bullfighting. So what do you do? So let's just say I say, you know what? Now, I've worked for groups that I think have horrible values. I work for Hasidic people who they have some values I don't agree with. I see them, how they treat women. I don't agree with that. And I don't like how they've closed off their population in a forced manner. I think that's dangerous. So they have some things that they do that I actually find very terrible. But I work for them all the time, and I respect them full-heartedly. I mean, that's, it is what it is. Now, why would I want to perform for them? Why would I want to show them my gift? So every time I work for people that I necessarily might not agree with on a value system, I look at it like, look, here's a chance for me to be who I am in all my glory, turned to 11, in front of people that most likely would be mortified if they knew what my values were. And they're probably guessing some of them by how I look. They're able to guess some things that I don't take their money and run. Well, I'm going to get to that too, because that's common too. So here's my chance for showing them a side of humanity, which is my version of it, that might open up something inside of them all that makes them think a little differently, or at least have a little bit of a warm-heartedness to a new idea that they might not have known. And that would have never happened if I didn't do the show. Now, let's take the quote, I don't know, the Aryan Nation of Queens, New York, or whatever, which I don't think that exists. There are definitely white power people in New York City, that's for sure, which is crazy in such a diverse city. But yeah, they exist, obviously. And there's the opposites of those. There's each individual ethnic group who thinks they are supreme, right? So what would I get out of it? Well, again, if I got hired and I went and did the show, which I would actually, I'm going to be honest, that's what it would be. It would be like, look, I hate all these people, but I'm going to go do my thing and make them clap and have a good time. And maybe, just maybe, they'll open up to a new idea. And I don't know if you know me. I mean, you guys know me from this, and some of you know me personally. But everything that I believe in value-wise, all of those ideas, they're in my magic shows. Subtly. Some of the stuff's very subtle. Like when I borrow money off of people and they don't have cash anymore, I quickly mention, in a very fun manner, almost as if it's not serious at all, how weird and bad it will be when there's no cash. And that I did... it's hard to explain. You'd have to see the context in which I mention things. But then people start asking me questions about it, and now I've opened some doors. And then I do my magic. Yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah, dealing with, when you're working in a world that's bad, that's a little different than what I'm talking, but I am going to talk about that, Ruby. Yes. I'm going to talk about jobs where you're complimented by people you don't like repeatedly. Like if I would get, hired to do the white power KKK group magic Christmas party, I'm not doing that daily. It would be like a once in a lifetime thing. I do it and I leave, right? Now here's the bad part. I was talking to my buddy. Actually, he might be watching. Oh, someone's getting deleted. Zalthon, what happened? Zalthon said, watch what you say. Oh, sorry. He's getting mad. I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, like, I have things about me. Okay, so here, this is interesting. Yes, I agree, Peter. Peter Benedetti says, I agree, you have to be willing to engage with people who aren't like you and don't think like you. Shutting people out, censoring them only breeds more hostility. Okay, great. Now here's the line crosser. What if you're dealing with a group that kills people? I mean, really crosses the line. And I'm going to be honest, I've had to be around that, for different situations. I've been around it. I know the energy. The thing is, okay, so there's so many things in here. This is a great subject. We could talk about this for hours. I had a point to make and I got sidetracked because there's so much going on in here. Oh, my buddy said, great, you do the job, you get paid. Let's say you actually change some of these white power guys' minds. Because, I don't know, they meet you, they're amazed by what you've dedicated your life to, they talk to you, they realize you have ethnically diverse kids. And maybe they're like, you know what? Their brain opens up a little bit, and then you go home, and then you realize that on the Twitters, you've been canceled. You're now the Nazi magician or whatever, and people are freaking out. And my friend said, what would you do? Yes, okay. You got it, Lilith. It's funny, I'm on a delay, and you're saying the same thing. We're all talking here at the same time, because our minds are, we have some similar notions here. So this is what I said to my friend when he said that. He goes, yeah, you're going to get canceled, right? And I go, yeah, I might. But it might make me get 20,000 followers on YouTube, because at that moment of getting canceled, I would literally become a free speech advocate. If I literally got canceled because of some dumb gig I did for a bunch of dummies that I didn't even care about, I would use it. I would use that to my benefit. And I think it would actually, it can be a deterrent. But look, I know people that were left-leaning nobodies. They had they were kind of progressive types. And then they lined up with a political party, verbatim. Whether it be the Republicans or the Democrats. And then they got a bunch of followers. Like that. If I picked a political party that I liked and started using a little of that juice in this show, there'd be 200 people watching instead of the small amount now. So, because so many people sign up to things, once they've signed up and you put on the badge that you're part of it, you get them. If I all of a sudden became whatever, it really does work like that, it seems. And a lot of people do that on purpose to get followers online. They pick a political party. Tim Pool, who's basically a liberal progressive, who was one of the guys down there at Wall Street protests, he voted for Trump. He didn't vote for Trump because he had a very weird reason for it. It was more of a free speech reason. He was like, this guy's more pro-free speech. It was more of a pure logic reason. Anyway, because he did that, he got a bunch of followers. He signed up for a team. So, again, that would be the deterrent, would be this cancel culture we're living in. But at the same time, I also am curious. And if you gave me the opportunity to go inside the Queen's Aryan Nation group as an insider, I would take that in 2 seconds. Are you kidding me? Because of my job as a magician, I get to go into situations most normal people never get to go into. Like the Hasidic guys. I've done Hasidic cruise trips, and I'm the only Goyim on the premise, So, let's see. Yes, Peter. The worst part of cancel culture is it creates an environment where people start self-censoring. Well, here, you want to hear something funny? To me, cancel culture and fact-checking culture are very similar. Notice nobody's fact-checking now the war. Do you know how much nonsense is on about the war that the news is picking up and regurgitating? A lot of the videos that they're showing are video games. They're not even real. So, you're right. People start to self-censor. Now you're losing out on a creative process that's dangerous. It's like being intimidated into it. Yes. Yeah. What's this say? With the way white supremacist accusations get thrown around these days, accusations, yes. It could be, yeah. I'm a Shabbat goy. That's me. I am. Yes, well, the word racist is used willy-nilly, just like the word Nazi. And I don't like that. I mean, people don't realize what the word Nazi really does mean, It has an actual meaning. It doesn't mean strict. God, he's so Nazi about it. People use the word Nazi in a replacement for the word strict, which is ridiculous and shouldn't be. First of all, it diminishes the meaning, and it loses its actual seriousness. Yeah, well, the fact checking is ridiculous. Um, so, okay. So you see where I'm getting at and why I think about these things. I'm in these situations sometimes. I have people that I've worked for I'm not allowed to say right now. I can't say it. You can guess, but I've worked for many groups that have bad records. Not just one. There's a few. And yeah, sure. I don't care. I don't care. I'll do a preschool, a corporate gig, and then I'll go do those guys. I perform. I make everybody happy, even the bad guys. That's how I've always looked at it. Now, let's talk about a job. Yeah, I agree, Robert. Oh, sharp. Yeah, well, yeah, if you're a good guy skinhead. I mean, people don't realize the skinhead movement started off as with black people and then non-racist white people. That's the skinhead movement. And then it got flipped. There's an excellent Oi skinhead documentary here on YouTube. Check it out. There's an African-American gentleman that narrates it, and it's awesome. It traces the history of the skinhead Oi movement. And I'm a fan. I love that stuff. That's one of my favorite genres of rock and roll. Yeah, oh, I know. Megan Fox she got canceled. So how about a job that you're working, whether it be, we'll get into what the jobs are, but you're repeatedly dealing with people that you don't like, and they're fluffing your ego. For instance, I'll use the strip club analogy. I know a lot of girls that work in strip clubs. I know burlesque girls. I know them really well. I've even lived with some of them. So I've heard all the stories. I've even heard the stories from the owners of the strip clubs, the bouncers, and all of the above. I could do a 4-hour episode on crazy strip club stories that I've heard or seen or been around. So anywho, to me, the strip club experience is you're getting men at their worst, mostly because it's the environment in which their lechery and eyes and comments are allowed to go on the salty side. Why? Because they're paying for it. And so it's one of the things I never liked about strip clubs. There's this false sense of, I'm going to go in there and flirt with girls like I can. Even though if you did it in a real bar, they would get turned down and are slapped and kicked out for being harassing. But in a strip joint, you're allowed to say, hey, nice butt, and you know, comment on their body parts and give them money. So, what is this? They're girls in the strip club, or men, if it's the boy strip club, which exists too, or trans. There's all of the above now. They're hearing things. They look down upon the client. They're like, yeah, I just take their money. I hate them. I take it in spite of them, and they're getting compliments. You're so pretty. I love you. Marry me. Blah 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 blah. Right? What happens when you're hearing things that are flattering from people you don't like? Bartenders get this. They've got drunks fluffing their ego all night. What happens? I've done a little research. It's not good. It's a subconscious cacophony of dissonant chords going off. It's cognitive dissonance. And the way it gets boxed in your head is not good. Yeah. Dude, I mean, Doc Marten doesn't even sell red boots anymore, basically, with steel toes. They'll have red Doc Martens, but the real skinhead boots, they don't sell anymore. They're trying to disassociate with it, which is sad because most skinheads aren't racist. It's crazy. Yeah, I love skinhead music. It's one of my favorite genres. I mean, Cockspar is literally one of my favorite bands. They're Oi. They're one of the first ones. So I'm trying to think of other jobs where you're hearing things from people that you don't admire. I mean, it's weird. I mean, performers to a certain degree all get it, but not like a strip club setting. And I always thought, intertwined with the compliments that people are getting in the strip club, they're also getting criticized. You know, like, it's the only place where a girl can come up and be flirty with you and you can go, and shoo them away. I've seen it. I'm like, wow, he just shooed her away. Why? Well, she wants money and he doesn't want to give her any more. So there's this weird game going on. She's pretending that she likes him, and he's pretending that he's able to actually date this girl in a weird manner. So there's like this double pretend world going on. And so to deal with it, they go to the locker room and they relay and fluff each other's egos to solve the problem of the cognitive dissonance. I've seen it. It's not a good environment, it seems. It's like, I think there are people that can handle it, but it just seems like repeated use of that would make you go nuts. I was trying to think, if I was forced to do magic tricks for some group that I despise, but the whole time they're like, we love you, you're great, you're awesome, and I'm like, I hate you all. If I did that every day, there's no way that wouldn't catch up to me. No way. Impossible. Fred Perry with gold piping. I do like the skinhead dress. I like, there's something to it. It's this like, it's kind of like a working class uniform that is just perfect in its essence. It's kind of snappy. It's kind of punk rock. It's cool in that manner. I always thought it's cool. I have red boots. I have 2 pair. I'm a skinhead with hair. I don't wear the suspenders. And I don't wear Fred Perry, but I get it. I get what the movement is, and I don't... It's a working class thing. It's like a working class ethic, and an embracement of such is what I always took it as. Well, okay. Basement Access Mundi, who I don't know if I know you. Do I know you? I can't remember people's real names. If I know you, say you know me. That's how you feel about most jobs, is you're getting compliments from people you don't like. Okay, that's fair. I'm sure a lot of people could say that, but that's not good, maybe. Like, I hope it doesn't catch up. I hope you're okay with it. I get flattered at shows because I'm doing magic. And so I'm creating amazing moments that to me aren't amazing because I've been doing it my whole life. But for somebody that's never seen it before, they're going to go, oh my God, that was great. Right? I'm just trying to think now, what does that do to me? I mean, I know that my Bomber Jack, Ruby has a thing for skinheads. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I always thought the skinhead girl look was cool with the shave and the long. You're an Instagram follower. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Now let me just see here. Restricting. Okay, so let's now take this subject and now move it to the gay and Nazi cake analogy I made, and also let's take it to let's say you own a car parts place and someone pulls up with the rebel flag on the hood. Or even worse, there's a little Nazi thing dangling in the mirror. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the singer for Motorhead, Lemmy Kilmister, collected Nazi memorabilia. I mean, he liked Nazi memorabilia. He liked collecting bad guy stuff. I don't hold it against him. Was he a Nazi? I don't think so. I've met him, and I didn't get any Nazi vibes from him. So, I dated one skinhead girl in high school. So if you're watching, I don't know where you are or what you're up to. She was cool, though. They pull in with their car, and they want it fixed. And they got what do they call the Swazi? They got a little swastika. What do you do? Fix their car? I mean, I clearly don't like Nazis. I mean, I think it's repulsive, but what does that even mean? How about the phone company turning off the power to the local KKK chapter or the electric company? I don't know. These are just things that I think about. Like, what does that mean? The cake analogy to me is interesting. Because if you are making a cake, that's like, let's say I'm the cake guy. And, cake manufacture, the cake guy doesn't want to make a gay cake. Well, to me, that's his right. That's his free speech right. That's his right as a human. He shouldn't be forced to do anything. That's his business, why. And also, this is the other thing. People don't realize this, and this is very, 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 very important. There are some people that their reasons for doing things aren't what you think. I know people that won't use the they, them terms only because of it's being compelled. You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't like using words, even if they agree with it, if it's forced. They're like, there's where the line gets crossed, because once I allow this in, even though I agree to it, it could be used against me. And so that's why forcing things is weird. Because once you open the door, even in emergency purposes, you have to pretend that next week the guy mandating it is going to be horrible. And I mean worse than anything you could imagine. And would you be comfortable with that person doing the same kind of decision making? I am not. That's just where I come into. Yeah, Amazon does cancel books. They do. Oh, I know they do. We all know they do. We do. And to me, that's denying information. You know, Amazon, I think, sells Mein Kampf, but they don't sell... I think they took off Might is Right, which is insane. I'm going to look now. Does Amazon sell Mein Kampf? I think they do. Mein Kampf. Yeah, it has to be in here. Oh, what? How do you spell Mein Kampf? Oh my gosh, how do you spell Siri? Here, hold on. Hey Siri. Uh-huh. Mein Kampf. Here are matches. M-E-I-N. Okay, it's M-E-I-N. All right, I'm terrible with spelling. So let's see. Do they sell M-E-I-N-K-A? Yes, they do. They have it on Kindle and... yeah. So they sell Mein Kampf. Aha. Billion said, is the gayness of the cake determined by the flavoring or the decorating? I love it. Or is it gay by virtue of the purchaser? Well, yeah, I mean... yeah. Banking and CEC systems can decide you represent a hate group and put you out of business. Yeah, exactly. What does that mean? That's crazy. And again, hate group to me is ridiculous. Like, I don't like the words hate groups. I don't understand the concept of hate speech and hate groups. I don't understand it because it's too gray. It's like, if any crime is committed, there's a hate crime inside of it somewhere. There's some sort of denial and hatred for some sort of humanity in its essence. And that's why, to me, the hate crime lists and hate groups, there's a hierarchy of who hates more, kind of. Like, it's a weird system. Haha, you're on a list now. Oh, because I looked up Mein Kampf. Yeah, okay, so I was going to mention that. So in the old days, on Twitter, I would follow everybody. I mean, if I'm interested in something, I'll follow it, even if it's something bad. And nowadays, if you follow certain people, it means you like them. Now, who decided that bullshit? You know, I got accused of being a Trump voter because I followed Trump. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for any of them. I don't vote for those parties anymore. I stopped years ago. So I was like, dude, just because I follow him and his tweets are funny, this means I don't like him. You know, what is it? 70% of Howard Stern listeners don't like him. Or whatever. It was a really high number in the 90s. So, yeah, I hate speech. We should all be telepathic. Well, we are kind of, a little bit. Meaning, we can read body language. At least I can. I mean, Oh, speaking of body language, everybody, I'm not making any comments on the war. I choose no sides anymore in conflicts like that. But I will say, for study purposes and fun, anytime you see Vladimir Putin in a video, watch his arms. He's got gangster arm. He does what they teach you to do in like special forces, secret service, mafiosa. Their right arm, if you watch when he walks, he doesn't move his right arm. He moves his left arm, but his right arm is kind of wooden because it's there so he can get his gun. It's like his right arm is only there for killing people. And so I was watching a video of him sitting at a desk, and his right arm looked wooden. He had this weird kind of position of his arm, and he's like, you know, talking, and his arm, I was like, wow, very interesting. That man is not a politician. And we're using politics to try to deal with him. He's not a politician. So back to that notion of banks shutting you down, the power. If you get put as a bad guy, you know, it's a little weird. So I thought tonight's subject. Oh wow, it's almost 9. Holy cow, that went quick. I love talking about this stuff because not only do I experience it, but I see other people talking about it, and I see a lot of people saying unrealistic things. You know, the other notion is I need money to pay my bills. I have a lot of bills, and I don't have a mountain trust fund sitting somewhere to cover my costs. I have to work to pay my bills. So there's that part of it too. Somebody earlier wrote, take the money and run. I mean, yeah, that's part of that too. What does that mean? If you're taking money from, you know, that kind of situation, subconsciously, what does that do to you? Some people are good with dealing with it and some aren't. Some don't care and some do. I think a lot of the people that do care can afford to care. That's what I noticed observing online chatter of people going, I would never do that show, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, you don't do any shows. No one hires you. You suck. You might do 1 or 2 shows a year, but basically you don't run a professional business. I see a lot of that. I also see, I remember we've had some instances in my variety arts community where there was finger pointing about somebody being a racist and somebody not being a racist and blah, 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 blah. And like all the people that went after the quote racist who was not a racist were the people that weren't working for that person. You know, they were like outsiders that already hated them. It was hilarious. It was like, wow. Yeah, guys, Magic the Gathering, do you know how many cards they got rid of for PC reasons? It's insane. So what's this say? There was a female artist who did art for Magic the Gathering who lost work for who she followed on Facebook. Dude, that's lame. Magic the Gathering they had a card called Enslavement, I think. Which, yeah, in fantasy novels, they're slaves. So, has nothing to do with. But even if it did have something to do with our version of slavery that's terrible, so what? Who cares? Like, I mean, really, like, you're not allowed to pretend to learn or. This is where I think it's just weird. It's like, how you can't do a period piece anymore because it's offensive because all the people of the old days were racist. What? That's why they're canceling each famous political leader one at a time till there's none left. It's very strange because, I mean, all of our religious guru gods, they were racist pigs too. So where's the end? You know, they got rid of a Thomas Jefferson statue somewhere. I'm like, when are they going to get rid of the Jesus statue? He was racist. Terrible. This is why absolute freedom should be the objective. Yeah. Dude, that's it, man. The moral of the story for me in the last few years is whatever you're against, imagine the opposing party has the same powers. Like, flip it. Do the mental flip, and you'll go, yeah. Because I remember I had a long debate once about free speech with this girl who clearly didn't think about it ever. I won't call her dumb, but she just never sat and went through it, and she thought there should be laws against hate speech. She was from down under. And I believe they have hate speech laws, like most places these days. I think the U.S. is one of the last few that doesn't have an official no hate speech law. And she thought hate speech should be regulated. And I said, like what? And she was, she went down the list of things that should. And I said, well, that's cool, but, who will do the, the government will decide with a panel of people. And I said, and Trump wasn't in office yet, but I think he was running. And I said, well, what if Trump's in charge? And she go, well, we won't let him do it. And I went, exactly, you dummy. There's where you're dumb, because you didn't just see what I did. He ended up winning, and I was like, well, what if he is in charge? And he was in charge, and then it's like, you see, it has to work on both sides. That's very interesting, Bill. You can't talk about atrocities that occurred, but you can also get beaten down for not knowing about said atrocities. Yeah. Well, that's why it has to be all there. That's why YouTube getting rid of the Alex Jones channel and the Trump channel is dangerous, because you have to be able to go see what these people are actually saying. The more they bury it, it almost is like light in the lighter fluid. It's cooking it. Those people all still have followings. They're not going to go away, All right, so you're right. They are. They're trying to make misinformation an act of terrorism. I saw that. I've seen some people mentioning this. It's not good. It's not good. It really is that slippery slope, It really is. And today in school, they don't teach history anymore. They're not allowed to. History's racist. So you can't go, hey, here's what happened. I know it's racist and it's bad, but this is literally what happened. And there was some good that came out of it, obviously. So you can't do that anymore. So they have to create new focuses for history. And a lot of the key stories are being repeated today. Look what's going on in Europe. That most people don't understand the back history of what's going on today in Europe. They're just like, Russia's bad. Ukraine's the hero. That's where it stops for most people. They don't understand NATO, the UN, the USSR and its long history of what it got to, and then what happened when the countries all flipped. They don't know. They know nothing. And that's why I don't say anything online, because I assume nobody knows anything. And I'm not going to be the educator of all of that stuff. It's too much. So therefore, I take no sides. I have my own personal, thoughts on it, of course. But I'm not out there changing the world with it. I can't. I have nothing to say. I obviously am anti-war. Yeah, I think war's bad, obviously. Misinformation is just a different side of the topic. Well, you're right. And also the other thing about misinformation, it's so weird now. We've got bullshit that is layered with bullshit, and then somebody else bullshits and says this is bullshit. That's what it looks like to me. It's getting so deep that it really is impossible. It's gotten to be well, there you go. So Talon said something cool there. He says, this is just setting the stage for the internet to be regulated and censored by the state. So the whistleblower for Facebook, which I was like, yes, blow the whistle of how rotten some of their stuff is. I've seen people do some pieces where that person is a shill for that reason. It's the catalyst for the government to say, you're right, this is bad. And then they come in and they really do something. Now, I will say, I do think the government needs to step in now. And I don't like government intervention on anything. But they're not going to do what I'm going to say. But think about free speech. China, the government goes, here's what you're allowed to say. Here's what you're not allowed to say. That's it. No questions asked. And we don't have a list because we change it every day. Here, the government says, you can say whatever you want. Go. It's free speech. But then, everything before you except for your front porch and a letter you wrote to grandma, is owned by a private company, and they regulate your speech. So that means real free speech basically only exists for the town crier. It's a little weird. So I do like what some of the politicians have mentioned and gotten shut down for, and that is, whoever you are, you got to pick publisher or platform. If you pick platform, you're not liable for lawsuit, but you got to follow free speech. You got to let all the wackos in. If you go for publisher, you can curate. You can be like, we're the right-wing channel or we're the left-wing channel, and curate your channel, but you're liable. Nobody wants that. Why? Because they don't want to get sued, and they want to be able to pick and choose publisher platform. That's it. Done. That's the end of the game. So I don't think we're ever going to see change, because think about it. If you're the king of the USA, don't you want that system? You want to make it look like everything's free, yet it's not, because the corporations are literally dictating what. I had a buddy that was, he's always like, yo, you don't have to be on Facebook. You don't have to be you don't have to use the internet. But you do. You do. If you don't have the internet these days and you're trying to live a normal life and you're not using apps and an iPhone, and it's getting harder and harder. I can't even get to my bank anymore. They've closed all the banks. They don't even have tellers. They don't have anything. It's very weird. You said in Canada, Francis said, the misinformation thing, or the, Canada. Well, Canada they don't have free speech laws anymore. I think they've made it where if you misgender, you can get arrested. Which, I don't misgender people, but again, if somebody wants to misgender somebody, that's their business, man. I don't care. That's it. That's the end. If I had a trans child, I'd tell them the same. I was like, if somebody calls you the wrong gender, that's it. What are you going to do? If your identity is reliant on somebody else's opinion, you have a serious problem there. You have to be comfortable in your own shoes and then some. Like, you can't be running around with this notion of if somebody sees you a certain way, your day's ruined. I mean, dude, people look at me like I'm a kook all day. And what do? Ignore it. Move on. What are you going to do? Yeah. Wow. Any more thoughts on this? This is a meaty subject. It's very kind of touchy on some of this stuff. At the end of the day, I think people need to realize that, and they're not going to realize this. It's because it's all emotional based. Weaponize. Yeah. I think people need to realize that people have different values. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it right now. Values change. They don't change overnight. Because values and beliefs are like this. And you can't make somebody believe something they don't want to believe. It's not going to happen. You can't make somebody unhate overnight. It doesn't happen that way. That's why when you run around and you yell at the racist, you're a racist, you're racist, you're terrible. You're not fixing that guy. It's not going to happen. Think about belief and how hard it would be to change. What was the analogy I came up with? Oh, a loaded gun. You have to believe in Santa Claus or I'm going to blow your brains out. Believe in Santa Claus. I believe Santa's real. If you had a brain monitor, you'd see they were just saying it. They don't believe it. To get someone to really believe into something is a process. And to me, if somebody has a value that's that extreme, you're not changing it. And we do live in a world where people have values we don't like, and there is a gradient scale, obviously. You've got cannibals over here, and you have the super pious religious guy here, right? I'm trying to think of extremes here. What do? What do you do? Well, you either live together and accept, or you kill the other guy. You take him out. And if you study history, that's kind of what it seems like. It's been going on for a few 100,000 years. And that's the nature of reality that I've seen. A lot of people have said to me, it's a little nihilistic in the sense that the tone of my voice doesn't sound like there's much hope. And my answer to that is, you're right, but I don't think that's bad. It is what it is. They're taking that as a negative, that we might not become enlightened and transfer our values to some higher cause where everybody lives in blissful peace. I don't personally see that with my forward-thinking machine. But I don't think it's bad that that's not happening. So there you go. There's a different value. Big one. And so I have to learn to get along. Oh yeah, Ruth, catch the replay. This is a meaty one. It's like once you become an atheist and try to plug back. Well, that would be painful. Yeah, calling someone terrible, even if... Yeah, exactly. And I wish everybody that's online would remember that. I mean, I know we all see things online. You want to say what you want to say. You want to tell people certain things that whose team you're on. I personally don't like to, because once I tell them what team I might be siding with, I might not be on the team, but I might side with them, they immediately assume a whole list of things that probably aren't true. And that's my problem. When people find out I like guns and I'm actually a crazy Second Amendment person, and I'm pretty extreme on that one, they assume I'm a right-wing kook on a bunch of other issues, which is not true. Yeah, they're just values. And I know people that hate my values towards self-protection. I don't mean condoms. I mean guns. And that's fair. But we have to live together, and we have to get along, and we have to make friends, at least on a surface level, with people we don't like, that have different values than us. And I wish everybody, before they reacted, would just respond. Take a minute, realize that the guy that you hate, and maybe if he died you wouldn't care, it is what it is. And so the difference between me and if there's a person that's like, how could you do a show for that group? Well, how? Well, you're judging that group, and I'm not. I'm not judging them. Do I like their values? Not really. No, but I'm not judging them. They have reasons for those values. And some of them might be so deep and ingrained that it's like, that ain't never going away. So what do? You either deal with it or kill them. I'm being serious. That's what I don't get when people are saying things. I'm like, and now what? What are you going to do? You hate these people because you think they're bigots, but now what? What are you going to do? You're just going to anger them more, or you're going to take them out. What is it? Oh, you're just going to, educate the world of how bad they are, but in the meantime, you're making them more powerful, and now they're going to come get you. You see? Okay, there you go. Yes. Yeah, I have some political leanings that go to the right, and some, obviously. I go right and left on certain things. And yeah, people think immediately that I'm down with conservative Christians. I'm not at all, Yeah, I'm pretty libertarian. I mean, if I had to pick a party, I don't like that, but I would say I'm definitely in that realm of leave me alone. Yeah. Crass. The band? Yeah. It's funny, I like them, but I don't really listen to them that much. I will tonight, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Interacting with a person or group of people doesn't imply you endorse everything they stand for. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, this is not true. When I do a magic show, I'll give you a little insight. Especially mingle. My goal is to walk in and make friends, even with people I don't like. And the only way to do that is to find a common interest. So here I am with a bunch of crazy Aryan Nation dumbheads, right? Whatever. What do? I got to find something. We'll talk about our kids. Maybe we'll talk about guns. I don't know. But I find a common interest, And maybe, just maybe, the person watching me, again, they'll open up. Most people ask me a lot of questions when I work with Orthodox Jewish people, and I mean Hasidim, the extreme of the Orthodox. They ask me a million questions. Do you have kids? What do they do? Da, da, da. Why? Because I'm the only person on the outside they ever get to hang with on that level. And so, what do? I open up. I tell them about me. And I have a moment where I learn about them. Do I enjoy it? Yeah, kind of. It's like an anthropology lesson in cultural values, right? It really is. It really is. Oddly, it is. It's the process to getting along. We just got to figure it out. And so I do think the big one is we're emotionally wired, and that's never going to go away. And that's the problem. We answer with emotions, not a response that's thought through. And I admit, I'm an emotional character too. I can erupt. I've gotten better though. I've trained myself to get better at it. It's not easy. Wow. I got to go. I've been talking nonstop for an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm hungry. And that was an awesome episode. Yeah, dude, whoever's in here, thank you. This is a really, really good episode. If you're new to this channel, A, hit the subscribe button, please. B, go read that chat, because there's a lot of cool stuff in there. Always wanted to learn how to shoot a gun, maybe. Well, ask the anti-gunners what they think about Ukraine now. I always tell people, like that, you could have an opposing force in your living room. What are you going to do? It could happen at any minute. No one ever thinks of these things. Overnight, things happen, and you're like, I think everybody should learn how to shoot a gun. Oh, yeah, the Jews wouldn't talk to me if I was a woman. That's for sure. So it's funny that you mentioned that, Ruth, because I've done the Hasidic jobs where they send me to perform for the ladies. And it's funny because men aren't allowed to hang out with ladies, but I am because I'm a goy. And so that's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Lilith. That means a lot coming from you guys, really. I love talking. Obviously, I'm a talker. And I love talking about juicy subjects. I don't have answers to these things. They're just, I have thoughts and I like to bounce ideas, and I like to meet people that also like to bounce ideas, and that's it. I don't get offended by anything, really. Yeah. I really do. I like thinking, and I like debating, and I like discourse. I think it's great. It's the only thing to do. I remember reading in one of the Seneca letters, and I don't know which one. You might know, Dan. But he basically values talking to his friends more than anything in the world. And I agree. If you said, what would your greatest day be? It'd be like a handful of edibles on the beach, debating politics, religion, and philosophy with a friend. Primo. Top of the line. My favorite. And you know what's awesome? And I don't know if my son's watching now. If you're watching Wolfenstein, he's starting to read this stuff too. And now, me and him together, like on going over this stuff, it's great. It's great. It's the coolest thing in the world. The moment you become certain, you become dangerous. Boom. That's a good quote. It's true. That is true. The moment you know you have the answers, you're in big trouble. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, everybody in here right now. Without you, I wouldn't have a show, and I wouldn't be here right now. My viewership is going up a bit, meaning I got a consistent number of people now showing up. I want it to go higher, and it's really hard. The best thing you can do is just tell your friends, and most of you already do that. A lot of you are reposting my shows. That means a ton to me. That works. Yeah, the donating thing, yeah, I of course, I like making money, of course, but that's not what I'm here doing this for. Donating, yes, there's a link in there. There's a link in my description. Whatever, it goes to me to perform, right? But it's more about spreading the word. I want to have an audience. This show weeds out the dum-dums that don't like this kind of stuff pretty quick. And so the people that stick around are the people that watch the show and then do their own research. And then next week, say something in here and it makes me go watch something or do research. That's what I like. You know, my whole life of performing has been meeting cool people. Folks, you guys are awesome. This was episode 114. I'm going to be on episode 125 like that, which is shocking. So thank you, everybody, and I will see you here. Follow me on Instagram. I do live Instagram feeds now, more than I used to, and you never know when they're going to happen. Like tonight, I could do one tonight. Who knows? They're a little different. The vibe's different. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to bounce with the outro, and I'll see you guys here. Turn off your TVs, read good books, and party on. That's it. Over and out. And have an awesome week. It's Monday.